feel like I'm in good hands.
What's up, boys?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
It's a high five situation that we have here.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Yes.
This is going to be good. This is how you do it.
Debate.
This. All right, we're 4 seconds into this, and I have never been more excited, especially off the heels of last week's show when I had to eat a century egg.
But, oh my God, don't remind me.
Okay, for those of you who are watching this, let's just get into the intro quick. This is Cigar Talk Live. This is our Tuesday get-together where you beautiful people on that side of the lens get to sit with these beautiful people on this side of the lens. We talk life. We're going to talk
Liberty,
and we're going to talk
for all.
And justice for all. And we always bring in an esteemed guest. In this one, we started late because we've been quoting The Jerk and Step Brothers and Jack Black for the longest time.
Yes.
Todd Stewart, welcome in.
Such a pleasure to be here. I love this place. You guys are awesome.
And you haven't even
I'm
smoked
never
a cigar
leaving.
yet.
I'm calling my wife, honey. I'm staying.
That's it. I got a membership. I got the one where you never leave.
That's right.
So if you are watching this, make sure to hit share, make sure to comment, make sure to like. This is going to be an interactive show. I can feel it. You will be a part of this. And you know what? I've got a handful of cigars in the back in those orange bags that have people's names on them. So the most creative comment, I know they're samples.
Yeah. I mean, they're for us to try, but
We already tried one of them.
well, are you going to judge an entire line by one cigar?
We did for the rest.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
except for the Stallone.
Okay, and we
gave
also
them
have,
four wax
we
at
have
it.
an uber special Maduro cigar. Hang on to that Evan's going to hold until the end of the show. We'll give that away to the most creative comment.
That's yours, man.
Make sure you do all
That's
the
the net
social
equivalent of eating a black egg.
Here's how we... I'll bring some black eggs for you to eat.
Nah.
Here's how we start off every show. Aside from the high fives and all this nonsense that make you feel alienated at the beginning, we now put you in the hot seat to give us your life story in 90 seconds. Rock and roll.
Well, that's terrible. Why did you do this to me? See, grew up native Texan in construction for the most part. So I built things. I've done a lot of construction estimating. So my whole life was around construction, and then did some personal training, went into the Army for a short time. When I got out, I guess I'm defining my entire life by my work. Yeah, sounds like me, actually. Yeah. And so now I own a commercial property. It's a self-storage business. I like to work. I'm a musician. I play music for fun on the side. I accidentally own a recording studio. That was an accident. We'll talk about it. I fell, and there it was. But that's it. Yeah, I'm married with kids. My wife is French. We eat a lot of good food around the house.
Oh, where's Baptiste
I used to be
when you need him?
skinnier than I am now, but I'm not. I'm less skinny now.
I was going to say you're kind of a fat ass.
My wife met me, and she was like,
Jesus,
I felt like
shadow weighs more than this guy.
I felt like she saw a puppy like in the street. She's like, let me feed you.
Yeah.
So now I eat butter. I eat
Oh, that's butter and bread.
Everything with butter.
so
everything
simple.
with butter.
I'm a simple guy. But I grew up a nerd. I love to read, so I'm happy to.
That's where we
converse about
depart
anything.
from you and Evan. You guys read books. Pop's turned his books in his bookshelf into a
Humidor. Yeah.
priorities.
Books are for suckers, ladies and gentlemen.
Another form of library.
It is. I just stare, and then I grab one, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
What do you say we?
love it.
What do you
I
say
love
we
it.
start the show?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's
this is
do a toast.
Salute.
Yeah, it's you.
Chin chin.
Chin chin. Prost. Cheers to you who are watching this.
Yeah.
delicious.
Let us know what your.
This is Ben Franklin. No, it's Jefferson's.
Nice.
And here's what I love.
One of the founding fathers.
Here's what I love. They put very small batch, not just small batch.
Not just.
Very
small
batch.
That's going to be like super tiny, small batch.
That is delicious.
That is exactly right.
Yeah.
We got
So
Serge in the house.
speaking of foreigners, we have Serge in the house. He's living in Mexico City, but they're via Switzerland.
in Lugano.
Oh, nice.
Lugano is where he's from.
Nice.
But it's not his show. It's your show.
Yeah.
We do appreciate you being here, in all honesty. So if you
I'm glad you
decide,
got here after he trashed your cigars.
if it's,
Oh, wow.
well, just watch the show. It'll give you something to watch. But
No, you
if
didn't.
you feel like it's time to rock and roll, Oh, you feel already like it's time to go.
Getting closer.
Yeah, he was.
Getting closer.
Are you ready?
Not yet.
But he's got that Toscano. So
He had
Yeah, we're building it up. This is
We have a little bit of newbie. We have a newbie
Yeah.
sitting here, which is
100%
excellent. So
amateur.
happy.
Yeah, he had a little bit of. I could sense a little bit of Poseidon in him, and then I just noticed that he's breaking loose and he's ready to jump in the cigar.
did ask-
Smoke the right end though, would you?
I did.
Oh, yeah, flip it around.
I did ask for a baby bitch.
Yeah,
I'm
you
pretty
did.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's on me. So.
Yeah.
All right, so
My
let's
fault.
start it with a softball question because we started in just quotes to each other before this show started. So what is the quote that you find yourself saying the most, or what is the most quoted movie to make it easier? What is the most quotable movie? For those of you who are watching, drop that in the comments.
I would
Yes.
say at this point, it changes over time. I mean, Step Brothers was a good one. I would say at this time, Tropic Thunder might be.
Tropic Thunders.
That's
Good call there.
Hangover 3 has some incredible lines in it. Sometimes
Never
you
seen
I
it.
gotta watch that one
start
again.
up
Never
again.
seen it.
Read a book. You know,
I will ride with you on Tropic Thunder, though.
have you seen Tropic Thunder?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you had to have.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, God, yeah.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean? Yeah, one good part.
Yeah.
What was his energy juice named? Is it
Booty sweat.
Booty Sweat?
That's right.
There it is.
Yes.
Do you?
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, Tropic Thunder. Wayne Ferguson said Tropic Thunder as well.
Nice.
What's the most? What is it for you?
I don't know. I'm like once in a while a quote will hit my head and I'll remember it and like splurt it out. But otherwise,
You're not
I
much
don't
of a
know.
quoter.
No, I'm not.
No. It's not a-
You're
But
not
I
going to
recognize
like
them.
any of this conversation coming up. I'm going to be honest.
I enjoy them and I recognize them, but I can't come up with any on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think old school, you definitely have the jerk, right? But then there was some stuff in Caddyshack.
Yeah.
There's some pretty classic stuff in there.
No.
Yeah. Blazing
make
Saddles.
Your future. Blazing
Yes.
Saddles. Who said
Be-
Blazing Saddles?
Be the ball.
Be the ball.
Yeah.
Saddle's a classic. No,
Blaze-
people
yeah,
don't remember that one.
no, it-
History of the World Part 1.
That's Monty Python, right?
Monty
No,
Python.
no, Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks. Yeah.
Okay.
Brooks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But the
That's
jerk,
good.
a jerk is classic,
Yeah.
and then I think, of course, Tommy Boy.
Yeah,
There's a lot of great ones there, and then
Weird Science.
Weird Science has a few.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Animal House has a few.
So good.
I'm with you, Monty. I think Holy Grail is the quotable movie
It might
from
be
the Monty
most
Python.
of all time, actually.
Yeah, I think so too.
From the gallery.
I
yes.
fought in your general direction. Yeah, look.
We've already got one.
What do you mean? Did they say they had
Finally,
one?
this is a show that Nathan needed to be in it.
Yes. So my younger brother Nathan, he had some health things when he was younger. He lost his short-term memory or a good chunk of it, and I could legitimately tell you he cannot remember what he had for lunch.
No.
I can tell you that right now. It doesn't exist
He
in
uses
his mind.
GPS to get home.
He uses GPS to get home to his house from his business. And he can quote every single movie ever created. He's like a Rain Man.
When you say someone doesn't have memory, is he happy? I mean, that seems amazing, actually. If you don't remember any of your problems,
There's good and there's bad.
Yeah.
I think it's heavier than we can.
but you would have to put all your bills on automatic,
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
right? So
What
you
he
don't forget.
Yes, what he focuses on, he can tell you exactly to the cent how much money he has in every account, exactly how much every bill costs. He should go rob a casino because he's a retard.
He's a retard. Yeah.
He's a genius on cigars too, right?
Oh, he's a genius. The guy is a genius on cigars completely because you know what that's from. That's Saturday Night Live right there. That's Zoolander. He's a musical genius. But I will tell you what he loves and what he enjoys, he can remember everything.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because if we're sitting and I forget the line of a movie, I'll say, hey, remember in Trading Places? Another quotable movie.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what was the brother's name? Boom.
He'll
got
know it. Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, if he likes
is
it,
gifted.
he'll remember it.
And by
Math,
the way, Nathan
I mean,
is
who needs math?
he is an
Math's for
incredible story.
It's up there with books.
Great story, great person, great heart. Nate is a gentle giant.
Yep.
Yeah, but we do have a lot of Will Ferrell movies coming in. Talladega Nights.
Talladega
Come on.
Nights.
Oh God,
that's
a
for
winner.
sure.
We already know that.
It's a movie
We know
For
that.
sure.
of one-liners.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hold off because the easy questions go to you. But you just told us before we went live that they did not only shut off your show and deleted it, but they suspended and canceled your account indefinitely.
Oh yes, it no longer exists. It's like I think they scrubbed it from the web completely.
So we're talking.
So this might be the last episode of Cigar Talk Live.
Yeah. How do you
Enjoy
say
it.
boo Talladega
I'll
Nights?
do my best not to get you guys.
You know what? But I've been talking to Evan, and we're talking about rebranding and stuff. So maybe that's all right.
I don't think you understand how this works. They deleted everything he had.
It's gone.
It's gone.
We just need to take pictures of the pictures so that we have a reference.
Let's.
No, we did. Now we did actually reload some of those onto Rumble just to get them on there, but I felt like it was a badge of honor. The second I got that email, like your account no longer exists, I was like, it was
We
like
won.
that 50-50 feeling, like, oh, that sucks. Like, yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, that's what it felt
something.
like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stick it to the man. Well,
Hold it.
even though they just wiped me out. But
Can we just put this to a vote real quick and put this to bed? Which is better, Days of Thunder or Talladega Nights?
Talladega Nights.
Talladega.
Come on.
Oh,
100%. It's not even
who
close.
even brought that up?
You made me
They're
spill
also
my
genres.
macchiato.
Yes. How do you come in here and say Days of Thunder is so much better, and then when everyone concludes that it's a shit movie,
It's a great NASCAR movie.
it's a NASCAR movie? Who cares about NASCAR? Well, that makes sense. All right, let's move on, shall we? I watched a short clip with you and Evan.
Okay.
Having a conversation, and aside from all the lighthearted stuff on the front side, you are also a thinker and a reader.
I hope I am. I think that I am a thinker.
You think?
I think that I think.
As long as you're thinking it, it makes you a thinker.
As long as you got a voucher.
You guys were speaking in the short clip that I watched about success.
Yes.
And I think it's a good time because we're all in this moment of identifying what success is going to be and what that looks like, and how we spoke about this last night. How do you define success? And you guys, how do you define it? And then how do you set up your life to ensure that you can reach success?
Awesome question. That's something we think about and talk about a lot. For me personally, it's a 50-50 kind of looking to the future, but it's also appreciating what you've got. And I think that's a big part that I hear in all the self-help stuff. It's dream big, think about this, go do this, but what about what you've got right in front of you? The people, your family, the stuff you've run. So to me, I told Evan the other day, I feel successful. I feel successful. Could we have more money? Sure. Could we take more vacations? Sure. Could we have a beach house? Sure. But we're happy, we're fed, we got healthy kids, we're gainfully employed. I mean, so the definition for me is definitely 50-50. You've got to appreciate what you've got.
And that
foundation.
50-50 is what's coming in the future and what is happening now.
A good example, like, in the new agey stuff, if you want to kind of drop some of that stuff. As a kid, I always heard, they were always saying, be here now, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, thank God farmers think about the future. Thank God there's people who think about the future for us. So it's kind of that, we have to do both, in my opinion.
Yeah. What do you guys think? What do you think, Adrian?
Yeah, so we've talked about this in the previous episodes, and what I always come down to is take away the cars, take away the homes, and just think about that platform that we set up for our children. Are our children healthy? To Todd's point, right? Are they happy? Are they successful in their own right? And to me, that's success to me.
Well, you've succeeded.
Yeah.
So now what?
I mean, yeah, well, you just keep thriving. You just keep thriving and keeping that foundation growing and growing, and it just kind of builds upon itself.
Yeah, I like that. You asked that question last night, but I don't think you really defined it.
No, I think too many people determine what's in their savings account as success, and a lot of it is money driven. For me, it's the opposite. My success, my wealth is your guys' success, you and your brothers and your family, and it's just so if you guys are successful, I have nothing to worry about. I won. So working hard in those things get you the the stuff, but I would give up all the stuff to know that you guys are on the right path and happy and healthy.
Well, I think a follow-up to that, because I'm sitting with 3 very successful men. I think if you're honest with yourself, you have achieved a level of success, right? I think on the face value, on the way that it's written out, you're successful. So how do you stay driven if by your own definition you are successful?
I think it's an inner thing that you're already doing. I mean, you once you start that lifestyle, you can't really stop it. At least that I've noticed. That. People who are creating are always creating. You get in the zone, you don't want to stop. You know, you see lots of people on the outside. You look successful, right, to everyone else, but on the inside, for a creator, what are you thinking? I can do more. It's never good enough.
Yep.
So I think it's a habit, maybe an internal habit. Can you teach it? Can you pass that on?
That's a.
Can you pass it on?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Can you inspire others? Because
And how many people can you pass your own success on to so they can become successful?
Of increasing their energy in their own lives to start having their own successes. I mean, that's probably the lightning in the bottle everybody would love to capture.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I like that. What, do you find yourself, okay, let's stop. Let's talk about today. You're successful. But is it ever enough?
No, I think it's like something in us,
Right? No.
Where
No way.
Successful
you just
people.
want to keep
No.
thriving, like I said, and just keep on. What's the next thing we can take on?
But I think if your foundation is wealth, is health, and you have a healthy family and everybody's doing a good thing. We've talked about this before, where for me personally, I have this feeling of content. It doesn't mean that I don't work less. I work 2 jobs. I work hard. I'm constantly driving, but at its core, I'm comfortable doing it because I'm content with what is important to me. When people set money and material things as their focus, and if they're not getting it, they're getting depressed. They're not thinking, well, Jesus, my whole family's healthy here. We haven't missed a meal. That the lights are still turned on. I still got cable and a phone. I'm good. They don't think it's just. They almost get themselves into a level of depression because the grind. I don't have a Mercedes yet. I don't have, and they call it this grind. But if you just are content with if you define things like, in my case, I've defined it as health for my family, a good family, a solid foundation, one that will help others, all of those things, man, then you just work.
Yeah.
And you're not, you don't have to get there by Tuesday. That's the thing. It's just patience.
It's interesting because here's how I know you grow up in the hood. You just put one of the qualifiers of success is having cable television.
Yep.
You grew up in the hood.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
If my client wants a TiVo, he gets a TiVo.
there it is, Tropic Thunder back to the top.
TiVo.
Yes, he gets a TiVo.
I like that definition because it is a feeling when you are working and you get to a point where it doesn't feel like work. You're just being, you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're talking about. You start to attract more and more good things. It seems simple, but how can you describe that to people? The book Think and Grow Rich, classic book, right? And they say the whole meaning is in the title, and that's it. It's just like what you're thinking of constantly, and that thinking it's not even enough. It's action, right? And once you got those two going, it's momentum. Then now you're just lifestyle. Your lifestyle.
But think about it. If you're in construction, so the first time you hit the head of the nail, you did it slow, you missed, you hit the wall, you hit your finger, the lights are on, you're doing it. After 20 years, lights are off, I tap it once, I put this thing in. It's second nature. So when you get rid of all the outside stresses, you really realize that if you've been doing this, I've been selling shit since I got out of school, since the 80s. If you do that, and you've been doing it for years and decades, it's easy. It's so easy.
Uh-huh.
And
Keep showing up.
you just keep showing up. So you get good at what you're doing while you're grinding, but it takes a while for you to refocus. And I wasn't always like that. I thought it had to be the cars and the houses and all that other crap, but it's not fulfilling, at all.
No.
Yeah, I was thinking something today when I was driving in the car, and
In your Porsche?
no, I was driving in my 06 Ridgeline, picking up chicks.
Okay, sorry.
But I'm sitting there and just had a super productive day. I mean, 3 weeks worth of work was done today, and it was this feeling. And I left and I kissed my kids and I kissed my wife, and I knew they were good, and I was going to do something I enjoyed. And I sat in the car and I got the Beatles on, the windows open, and I just said, right now, in this moment of time, this is all that matters. In this moment, whether it lasts 1 second or 1 year, this is success. And I'm going to hyper focus on this. I'm going to keep my purpose driving me towards the horizon. But my focus is going to pull back from my success is always right outside of my reach with the carrot, which is a mistake I've made. That carrot there, that's the success. That's where the happiness is. That's where that is. No, I'm going to eat the carrot, but I'm going to let the carrot nourish me to get to the horizon. And in that moment, it was a realization to me that I don't know if it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'd love to get your guys' feedback, but I felt so content with the moment and understanding this is a stressful time. This is a time of growth. But God damn it, we're successful right now, and this is a moment we should celebrate. And if we don't celebrate it, we're going to lose it. We're going to lose the moment forever. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'd love to hear your feedback on moments that are similar or different in your lives.
I love it. That's perfect. I mean, that's it. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
Yeah.
half of success is just taking stock and giving thanks and being grateful for the little things. I mean, 1,000,001 things that we do in life. I mean, there's too much to keep up with. There's too many things going on. We're all overstimulated, and it's like just to slow down and keep it simple, the little stuff,
But I think like the normal person would have thought, wow, I had a successful day, I'm going to go celebrate. But they don't have the mindset of, this felt good, I want more of this. Right, so I'm going to continue doing whatever that was to keep this feeling. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we have, and many others that we've met here that have that same passion, thought process, innate.
It's a bit of a drug, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
it really is.
You look around and it's like Jobin's here with Corey, Nathaniel's back there. We've got Serge here. We've got a great crew. It's the reminder of it is a drug.
Yeah.
And I think if you set yourself up.
I think one thing, it's something my dad always said, I think people who are creating constantly get in that zone. And one thing he always said is that people are process blind. We want to accomplish things, but we don't know how to get there. And in the way, and my dad was a professional musician, so he equated it always to like a musical scale, that there's intervals, like on a piano, there's white and black keys, there's intervals. And he said most people don't know how to cross that interval to get to what they want, so they always get sidetracked. So when you said process, it's exactly what it made me think of, is that I think you get addicted to the process itself.
Yeah.
Just the work. Like, it doesn't even matter what the outcome is anymore.
Yeah.
At some point, and that is a success because you have the comfort level. Okay, bills are paid, everybody's fed, everybody's good. Now, what are we creating? What are we making? Evan and I, we get along so good because a lot of the stuff we do, we're constantly trying to create environments for other people to succeed too. So now it gets even beyond what we can personally do. It's now like, how do we magnify that and help other people get there? I'd heard the statement a long time ago, you can't progress up the stairs unless you replace the step behind you, kind of is the thought. So it's like you're constantly bringing people up, and
I like that.
As you're filling the next step. I mean, it's an idea. I don't know.
That is cool.
Will you dig into that a little bit deeper, that concept?
The idea of steps.
Well, basically making sure the step behind you. Is that for helping others?
Well, okay, so from what I understand, there's all kinds of work you can do. You can do work for yourself, by yourself, on yourself. You can do work for people, not for you at all, and you can do work for both of you. So there's all kinds of things we can do. I think success is getting away from just work for myself, on myself, for my benefit. That's what I'm talking about. Getting to that next step where you're now trying to coach or encourage. You certainly don't want to do things for people so they don't learn, but the encouragement, the coaching, even a kind word, I mean, those kind of things make a huge deal to people. And if you're in a strong position, you're going to be gentle and considerate of those kind of things around people. You're not going to squash people who are in a delicate space. You've made it, you're comfortable, but if you run into somebody who's not so set in their business and their income, you don't want to squash them. You know, you want to try to help them out, build them up, give them an encouraging word. Hey, I know a guy who does that. You know, you try to make connections for people. That's what I'm talking about. That's filling that step behind you. It's not scorched earth.
Yeah.
Mentality. It's the opposite.
I love that. I gravitate towards that because I love being able to connect people and help them succeed in what they're good at, right? So in my line of work, I meet many people in the either gun industry, cigar industry, or whatnot. And we have a very good friend of ours and partner, Busy, who's a tremendous photographer, videographer, editor. And so a good friend of ours from France, he moved from France, now lives here in Texas. He's like the most Texan guy ever from France. Gave up everything in France, moved here. Anyways, he needed a videographer because he's a YouTuber and that's how he makes his living. So Busy here, meet Baptiste. And now Busy is following Baptiste on helicopter rides, shooting pigs. He's taking them, different places. I think they'll be in Austin here pretty soon at the Texas 2K, doing racing, and it's just, I feel good that I made that connection to them, right? Busy's making money. Baptiste is getting good content to put up on his YouTube channels, and everyone's happy. That makes me happy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because you're speaking from multiple friends getting them connected. And it's where I see maybe something that's a little bit different is, Pops, you've been hyper-focused on the family. And you help so many people in here, but it feels almost passive. How do you find that balance between, it feels like 100% of your focus is on the family and growing the family.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of people in here that have benefited from words. So how do you find that balance of who you're going to help, how you're going to help them, and what you're going to give resource-wise?
Well, I think there's a lot of power in setting examples, and I think that there are a lot of people, and I've had conversations with people that after they get to know you guys, that will sit down and go, man, you did an incredible job with those kids. If there are people that see this relationship, because we're very visible, we're very public with our family element, and if that helps other families connect, think about it. If all of a sudden somebody's attitude is everything's got to be material, and all of a sudden everything has to be, if my family's good, I'm good, the other stuff comes. It all comes in time. So maybe by setting an example without saying what we're doing, we just show them what we're doing. I think there's a lot of people that, because they know their family dynamic better, there are people that go, man, I wish I had that relationship with my son, and or my kids, and I just don't. But when they see somebody that has that connection, they realize, if they view that as, if they see me from a distance and say that that's success, then maybe they try to emulate it. And so you don't have to say, here's how I did it, because frankly, I don't know the answer to that question. All I know is that, you love your kids, you help them, you make sure that, the training wheels stay on, they don't fall over, and all the way through their life, you're always the training wheels. And as much as you want to tell your kids the training wheels are off, they're never off.
Yeah.
They're never off.
How many kids do you have?
We have two, 15 and 19.
Boy, girl?
Two boys.
Two boys.
Very,
Oh, it's like dogs. You just put them in the backyard. They raise themselves.
So I tell you, and they're night and day. They're totally different from each other too. So handling them is different. Motivating them is different. My dad was a professional musician, and he refused to teach me and my brother how to play guitar.
Really?
That's right. And we used to ask him all the time, teach us to play. You know, as a kid, you want to be a rock star? And he's like, absolutely not. And then years later, I said, why wouldn't you ever teach us? And he said, I did not want you to have my lifestyle.
Yep.
But then he got a little older, and he said, maybe I was selfish. That's something we could have shared.
Yeah.
But he was like trying to protect us. But
Yeah.
what's funny now, you go to my office, and I've got like 30 guitars on the wall. We have a recording studio, a venue. You know, it's like they tried to keep you from stuff. You're going to go to it anyway. So.
Wow.
But what I love about what you guys are doing, and it really reminds me more of the old school stuff that I'm attracted to. That's probably why I was attracted to my wife. She's French, old school. Everything's very traditional. It's family, it's multi-generational thinking. That's the real way things should be. So I think you guys are keeping the fire alive. Thank you.
Yeah, no, but
For having family businesses, having the relationship you guys have, and like you said, it's very public. You can see how well you guys get along. Everything you guys have built together and continue. I mean, what you guys are doing, expanding next door. I mean, it's awesome. What you guys are doing is great as a family.
Yeah, and it's a beginning. You know,
To my eyes, that's success. I see you guys like these guys got it. They're doing it. They're doing it.
Yeah.
We're successful today. We'll continue. We'll continue the success. It's.
I love this place. You guys have done awesome.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Great energy. Everybody here, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel immediately how I told my wife I'm not leaving.
Yeah, all of this. I think all we did was give them the chairs and introduced them, but everybody has turned it into what it is, and that's what's so unique about this. Serge has been all over the world seeing cigar lounges. He doesn't see. I'm not going to speak for you, but there's not a lot of guys that are doing podcasts tonight that we're competing against. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a real interesting situation because we all sit here and we all speak about the good, the success. But we also have those failures and those landmines. All right, we've all stepped on those landmines. What are some of those lessons? Not the landmines, unless you want to share the landmines, but what are some of those lessons that you've learned that is important for other people to know, not to step on?
For me, number one would be procrastination. At 100%. The hesitation is dangerous beyond belief. And I still run into it to this day. Things that weren't handled, that they come back no matter what. Like you can never skip a step or step in the process because you will come back to it. So procrastination, I think, is the killer, the number one enemy.
Yeah, I always said I was going to write a book on procrastination, but I never got around to it.
It's coming though.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I got the title.
What about you, Adrian?
Yeah, let me think about that. What's yours?
Never skip the extra rep. Never skip the extra rep.
Okay.
And that could be in the gym. That could be could be in work. That could be that extra minute to play with your kids. I have a regret in life that I live with, but if you can harness it correctly, then great. But what I would say is you never grow. You can relate it to the gym. You never grow by staying comfortable. No. It's only in the gas. It's only when you're gassed. When you gas, as soon as you start breathing hard and you start thinking twice about, maybe I could do, okay, now you're in the growth. Get comfortable with that. And then if you're going to do 20, do 21. And then once you do 21, how many more can you do? And then just see. Because if you start out that set of life, then you go, I'm going to do 25. Then all of a sudden 12 starts feeling tough because you're almost halfway there. And then you get to 25. But if you go to here and then knowing, I'm going to push it to, here's where my set is in life. I'm going to push it one more. Okay, I'll push it a couple more. All right, now I've exceeded where I think I can go. All right, now it's all profit. Now we're in the black here. Now we're playing with house money. And I think that goes with everything. That goes with easy, lightweight stuff with the kids on Sunday. We could hang around the house, or maybe we take the dog to the park. Or maybe we take the dog to the right park where the kids can go. And maybe we hang out there for the afternoon, and now we have an experience, and now we have everything. Now we have a memory. that would have just been them buzzing around the house and me getting pissed off because they're making too much noise.
Yeah.
But just that little bit extra, I think breeds the mindset of maybe one more. That's
love the analogy, but let me take that in. I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but
Please.
in my mid 40s, I've always been into health and fitness, working out. In my mid 40s, I was benching 315, and taking your analogy, I said I can do 315. I could do 350, 375, right? And I've had spotters before, but this time I didn't. And I hit the 375, and I tore my right pec. No spotter, brought it down, and then it popped on my way up. By the mercy of whoever was watching over me, I racked it, and I couldn't move my right arm, nothing. Went home, Kathleen was home, and I called her as I drove. I don't know how I did that. Got home, and then all this, my whole arm, everything was purple. But I had that mentality. I was like, I can do one more. I can do heavier.
But you can if you have a spotter. If you have a spotter in life, right?
Yeah.
If you had a spotter, then you had somebody you could trust that was there. That saw you struggling at 350. They would have gone, just rep 350. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
Rep it. Stay with it.
I didn't listen to myself. Once I recovered from that, went back to the gym. I was doing brain busters, right? And I think I was doing like 250, and tore my left tricep.
You just sound irresponsible.
I had a spotter, and yeah, he caught
Let's
it.
get off of this analogy quick.
Yeah.
I didn't stop there. Both biceps are torn because I was curling like 160. I wanted to keep up with, I wanted to grow. I wanted to get that to that next level. And that was late 40s. And so now I don't work out anymore. But
All right.
not to
Well,
put a
thanks for
negative
that.
spin,
Appreciate that.
But mentality wise, as far as work
You
and
push
ethic,
yourself,
I still push that.
Yeah.
The physical part, right? I'm still able to walk and work and think and everything that's encompassed with that. But just the workout piece of it, now it's just a Peloton and running around the neighborhood, which is fine because it's still a physical activity. But the work, the weights is just kind of pushed to the side a little bit.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you guys think over there?
What was the question? Because
So the question is
I'm
really
just sitting here thinking, both of you assholes are the reasons I drive by by health clubs, but I never actually pull in.
I mean, really, it comes down to what are some not the story of stepping on the landmine, but what is the lesson of the landmine you've stepped
For me, a lot of this goes back to business, but I think it goes to personal relationships as well. But don't burn the bridge, because I think the natural instinct, particularly if you're right, is to torch the relationship, torch the bridge, because you're right. But the simple fact of the matter is, every time that I've had situations where I've left a job, I made sure that I gave them more than ample notice. I made sure that they weren't going to be left holding the bag when I left. And every time that I've done that, it's been a positive. I gave Panasonic a 3-week notice, not a 2-week notice, a 3-week notice. Went out and called on all my accounts to make sure it was done. When I went to my next job, I was able to call on my accounts, and they all said, "Man, you didn't leave me high and dry. You're okay." And then when I left there, when I went to American Gramophone, I gave them 4 months notice to make sure that every single thing was tightened up before I left. And that was to start my own business, but I made sure that everything was tightened up, and then they were my first client. So by not burning the bridge, because the landmine was, I've gone scorched earth before, and that's a landmine that it never stops blowing up, because you don't know who you're going to take out in your wake. And that same thing can happen with personal relationships too. It's just don't burn the bridge. Just keep it intact because you never know. Because like you said, everything comes back around.
Comes back around.
It all
does.
comes back around.
Dallas is a big little city. If you've ever heard that phrase about Dallas, I mean, in construction, you end up knowing everyone. And so you mess up one job, you leave it in a bad way, it's hard. It's amazing how far your reputation goes.
Yeah.
So that, what you just said was like, that's a success mindset right there. My grandfather was big on that. Like, you absolutely give people tons of notice, pay every bill, cross every T, dot every I.
No matter what.
No matter how small, no matter how invisible to anyone else.
Yeah.
And we talk about the personal success. Isn't it really just personal power? You're building up personal energy with every little integrity you
For sure.
practice. Every little thing. Every little
It loads your inventory up.
Yeah, it's like a little savings account. No one can see but you. But everyone can feel it. You get around somebody, you're like, oh, that person feels solid. Right? It's like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Stuart Wilde. He's a great writer. He does a lot of self-help type stuff, but he's kind of pragmatic, not very foo-foo-y. But that's one of the things he says, when you're building up power, it's like simple little tiny things like you're talking about. That's a big thing, but like simple things, no matter what, over time, Dallas is incredible because you'll meet someone 10 years later, 20 years later in this town. If you're around long enough, you'll run into all these people again. And you want them to say, oh, I remember you. It's so good to see you, right? That's what you want. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to do well unless you're giving people tons of consideration,
that's
tons of thoughtfulness.
For sure. I mean, you think about that. I was in the consumer electronics business for a long time. Again, huge industry. But it's the same 30, 40 guys that this guy that was a regional manager here is now the president of this company. I mean, what a difference it makes if the guy goes, he'll call you because, well, a perfect case in point was Nebraska Furniture Mart when I was an independent rep and I took care of them. I always made sure I took care of them. And Panasonic wanted to hire me, and Nebraska Furniture Mart had told him, we'll never, ever sell Panasonic unless you hire Dave Frakes.
Wow.
Really?
Because I know that he'll take care of us. And I know your previous rep never did. So bad that we would never sell it. You bring him in, we'll put it back in. And that's what they did.
You're kidding me.
No.
Wow.
No, that's how it worked.
No, I didn't know that.
That's
That's,
awesome.
Yeah. And that's
Wow.
And now that guy, that buyer, is the CEO of Nebraska Furniture Mart.
Blumkin.
Herb Blumkin.
Wow.
Yeah.
So awesome.
But that was because I always made sure that everybody was taken care of. Wasn't going to leave them high and dry. I'll make sure all your stuff gets done. I'll make sure everything gets shipped. I'll make sure all your ads are played. I'll make sure all that stuff. Then I'm going to go on to my next deal. And once they knew I was staying in the industry, they're like, we want this guy back.
really?
Yeah. Yep.
How many tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in
We did.
Panasonic have
I
you
did
done?
25 million a year with those guys minimum for 15 years. Yeah.
And to this day, if you think about now what Nebraska Furniture Mart is,
Yeah.
I mean, have they done $1 billion in Panasonic? That wouldn't have started in Omaha?
Maybe. They're the largest Bose dealer in the United States, and I sold them Bose, and that was a line that they swore they would never sell. And now they're the
Bose.
largest dealer in the country. Yep.
That's
Yeah.
if
But
you
it's
think
just-
about that. But if
But what was important to them? What was important to them? To get taken care of. It wasn't about the product.
I hope
Relationship.
everybody realizes that's gold. What he just described to us is gold. That is gold information right there.
I got to
That's
play
how
that back. I'm not even sure what I said. But
We got to record it.
It's gonna be part of the supercut.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the supercut.
Supercut that one. No, it's excellent. I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to treat people like people, right?
I mean, maybe like even more. You really have to think about people as you extended family. Extended friends. Friends are people you just haven't met yet, right? It's like a lot of times, and with work, it's amazing. I was telling somebody earlier, might have been you or Sims, where it's really incredible. You can meet people and have an unbelievable tiny conversation with somebody at an event and be able to do business with that person years later just because of that one interaction. Mm-hmm. So what you're talking about is that. It's like you're planting seeds. You don't even know what's going to grow from that seed.
Yeah.
That's a long-term mindset, and you're not worried about the result. You're just doing what you have to do. You're doing what you're supposed to do.
Do it. You're right.
And the results are always Always good. Always
Live your life with honesty, integrity, and character, and it all comes together.
It sounds too simple.
It's not.
It's too simple.
It's so easy to cut corners.
It's too simple for your generation.
I'm 51, guys. I don't know. Maybe,
But my generation
I'm
is
older.
different.
I'm older, man.
Right.
Like we're kind of more old school. I mean, I grew up
Yeah.
before phones,
Yeah.
before video games.
Yep.
We didn't have any of that stuff. I mean,
Yeah, but honesty and integrity doesn't get you paid on OnlyFans. Right? I mean,
I don't know.
it's but you've got these girls who go on and make $60,000 a month, $300,000 a month. Like, to hell with the rest. It's not quantifiable anymore, you know. And you just have to
What's the Southern saying? Bless their heart.
bless their heart.
Bless their hearts. God bless them.
Oh yeah, bless their bank accounts.
Save my granddaughter's life if that ever happens.
Oh,
just
no,
hide her in another country.
Oh no, she's going.
She's gonna get a lecture.
Oh yeah. Thankfully, I've got the right spotter and all that.
But
Yeah.
is that sustainable?
No,
Right. It's not sustainable, but they're missing the core values, right? So once that OnlyFans could shut down, tomorrow, now what?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can make
Go work
that
at
illegal
Hooters.
in a strip
Yeah.
club.
What do
Right.
you? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you go work at a restaurant and make, minimum wage.
$2.13 an hour plus tips.
That's right. Yeah, but without those core values, that goes a long way.
You say success, but like, what is success? Is it ultimate? Are you happy? You've met plenty of people who have great incomes.
Sure.
Are they happy?
No.
You've met plenty of people who are miserable with
Yep.
plenty of money. And you think, what's there to complain about?
And we've met people
Yeah.
who
It's
have
amazing. Humans
the
can
bare
make
minimum,
money. We can find
but
plenty
they're
of
still
different-
happy.
Yeah, and I think it's a uniquely independent definition. And if you allow people to make your definition of success, you will never be successful,
100%. Sure.
and you'll never be happy. Right? I think you're right. It's if you don't take the time to identify your why, you're dead in the waters.
It is made up of so many little actions, isn't it? Like
It is.
It's made up of so many little things that no one sees. Right. All the times in your office pouring over paperwork, paying bills, making phone calls, researching stuff, all that's unpaid. Ultimately, I deal with sound engineers, and those guys make $50 an hour to run a live board for a concert or something, and they're always busy. They're always booked. Those guys are so chill.
Oh, yeah.
They've got it made. I mean, they're so laid back, all of them. And I tell those guys, like, look, guys, if something doesn't work, I don't have much mercy for you at $50 an hour. Because in my job, if I were to add up all my hours, there's no way I'm making $50 an hour.
Yeah.
If I look up all the unpaid time.
Yep.
So you guys are making more than me per hour. Know your shit.
Yeah.
Please, I'm not going to tell you how to do that. Please go do that. Because if I had to take the time to go learn that stuff, I wouldn't be paying those guys to do
right.
it.
You do
They have
yourself.
time to do everything, right? So it's a perspective of your position, what you do, what you can do, and what you can learn. Because I think that's part of the success is the constant desire to learn new skills, and that means learning about other people's jobs, so you kind of have a better understanding. I don't have to be a sound engineer, but it's good for me to know the lingo so I can hire them better or see who's going to be better for which show. If that's helpful, I'm not sure if that was helpful.
No,
Definitely
it's
is,
helpful
yeah.
because we continuously speak about this concept of success, right? And the success for those who are successful can realize it now, but can realize tomorrow they're going to be more successful than they were today, yesterday, before. So I think if you're open to that, and if your eyes are open, your ears are open,
Bless you.
and you're educating yourself, you can be successful. Because, in my opinion, as soon as you stop learning, you start dying.
Yeah.
Right? But if you focus on how can I learn to be whatever that is, you have these guys who are in their 50s and they make a career change, want to do something different, but shit, they
you
spice
looking
it
at
up a
me?
little bit. I'm just looking over there because I've looked over you.
No,
and your beard's looking good.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
I mean, you did.
Yeah.
You made it. You
Yeah.
made a switch. You went from USAA to
Selling guns.
selling guns.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a huge jump.
Yeah.
But it's because of the lessons you learned previously.
Sure.
How do you see yourself today And if USAA came knocking on the door and said, here's a check, would you take it? And what's your rationale behind your answer?
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't take it, but I would thank them for the life lessons. I spent 24 years with the corporation and learned the ins and outs of that, and I took some of that knowledge into my business today. And, you know, with the help of having mentors, you know, such as Dave, Brandon, and other folks that I've met here, it's just helped my career in that sense. And yeah, love every minute of it.
I think watching other people that you respect, and I've learned more watching others than I have, you know, if you were going to read something. I just, for me, it's hard to apply somebody's concept, but if I watch somebody succeed, I remember one time just snow skiing one time, I was going up this lift and I watched this guy go down and I went, oh, I can do that.
Yep.
And then racing motorcycles, I raced for 10 years. You know, I would always get behind the fastest guy that was on the track, because if I could just learn his lines, it was a lot faster to get there than me trying to figure it out.
Yes.
So I'm just going to admit, I don't know it all. I'm just going to watch the guy that does. And that's one of the things I've learned from Scott and some of the others, is just the guy that I work with in my day job. It's just, you're able to get from point A to point B much faster if you watch somebody that's already good at it and follow that path. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's where it's, to me, it's that's what I guess gets you to these points faster. Or at least it does me. You learn a lot watching somebody else do it good.
Yeah, but I think it takes character, right? It takes character to get onto the track and go, I'm not as fast as that guy. I'm going to follow him. He's going to run away from me in 3 corners. But the next time I go around these corners, I'm going to know how to take it.
Yep.
You know, and I think, unfortunately, now we find ourselves in a situation and in a society and a culture, whatever, that you're supposed to be the best with the perfect life and everything's filtered and that's life. Versus, I know fuck all. And by the way, Todd, welcome to Cigar Talk Live. This is me. I know fuck all, but every week I'm trying to figure out how to do this thing we call life.
Well, it's funny because I live in a nice neighborhood, and about 5 houses down from me, there was a family down there, a couple, that the city of Frisco looked up at and said, these guys are success. Multiple Escalades, this huge, huge house, filled to the gills with all the nicest things, until 7 FBI black Blazers pulled into their front yard and started wheeling shit out on two-wheelers, and now they're in prison for scamming people out of $16 million worth of money in real estate. Yeah. So here's somebody that was smart. They figured out how that they could trick the banks. They could trick all of these people. They used their brains to get this lifestyle that was all fake, that was all illegal, no character, no integrity, no shit. But next thing you know, our neighbors, the whole neighborhood's in their house buying their furniture for $100. And it was all because they decided to live this life without that. They were smart as hell. They figured out how to get a bank to loan them money. They figured out how to get all this money out of investors, $16 million. And that's probably what they were able to find.
Yeah.
Agreed. And what was crazy was they actually opened the house up so you could go in and buy their stuff at their estate sale. It was more of a how to get the money to the banks. But these big sawed out 6-foot areas in their garage and stuff where they dropped the drywall down, which is where they were stashing money.
The cash.
Wow.
And there's these holes all over this $2 million house. Just holes everywhere from where they were stashing money. I mean, it's just no integrity. Let's cut corners.
Yeah, you think they're happy now?
Right.
It's like that.
I bet they wish they had a saw right now.
It's like, why, all these guys get into drug dealing. Why don't you watch the last scene of Blow? Because that's how it ends.
Yeah.
Just watch the last scene.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah. Right? It's like,
how'd that work
Scarface.
out?
Scarface reference.
Also valid.
Yeah.
You're dead in the pond. Right? But Blow, when he's got to say goodbye to his daughter, that's how it ends.
Yeah.
It never ends well. Goodfellas, the whole thing. It never
Yeah.
ends well. Hey, fellas, I'm going to ask you real quick. What do you feel about getting canceled off of this show?
Hey, we're an hour in.
Have we gotten canceled?
Have we said
No.
I've done
We're
my
about
best.
to, though.
I've done my best.
Here we go.
Not
Okay,
to say
so
any keywords.
here's what I need you to do. I need to pull that mic a little closer to you. Okay, so what we're gonna say is when we say the word conspiracy, we're gonna say schmiracy.
Unicorn.
Unicorns?
Yeah.
Okay, so unicorns.
unicorn theory.
The unicorn theories.
Unicorn theories out there.
Yeah.
Ancient unicorn theories. Todd, what's your favorite unicorn theory that you've stumbled across?
Favorite.
What's the one that you've spent the most time researching?
The number one thing that fascinates me, hands down, is ancient buildings, ancient stone structures.
We were just talking about that last night.
I'm 100% convinced that humans have been around.
This is where he needs to go, right,
for a long
Evan?
time.
And my wife, if I would have said Kardashian somewhere in the conversation, she would have stuck around.
But she was falling asleep. She was falling asleep.
She was falling asleep. But I'm with you. Where these guys have these 100-ton blocks stacked up, and they bring all these engineers out, and they're like, we don't have equipment today that could do that. How the did they do that?
Exactly.
Well,
That's the question.
so I know you do some reading.
I'm
You're the
pretty
reading
sure
type.
that was.
I mean, we don't actually know. That's the problem. There's a lot of information, but what do we know? What do we actually know?
What's your take on that?
I mean, I think people been around for a long time, millions of years. I think they found artifacts, I think, that are human made, or like 4.5 billion years old, in rock strata buried, so I think people have been around the whole time. I think there's probably been civilizations rising and falling, and who knows how many times it's happened before.
But do you think they've ever had the technology we have today?
I think they were way advanced. I think they were much further than we are. They probably use more naturally based science.
Yes.
That we use, like mechanical combustion engine kind of stuff.
Electronic.
But if you look back, I don't know if you guys done enough study in the 1800s. A lot of weird stuff happened in the 1800s. They had electric vehicle fleets. Like all the delivery trucks were electric back in the late 1800s. All of them. Did you know that?
I know the
They were
first
all
vehicle
electric.
was
They were all
electric.
electric vehicles. All the delivery trucks. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. They had little cars. They had cars where you could change the batteries out. They did 1,200 miles per charge, and you just changed out the battery. And there's pictures of those cars.
Take that, Frank
back from,
Tomaszewski.
Yeah,
He gets
Frank.
300 miles.
This dude gets about 200 per busted wheel on his stupid ass Tesla.
Low-wheel electric vehicle and each tire and its own engine and electric motor on it.
Blasphemy.
I mean, you look at the old buildings, it's just better. It's better than we've got now. I mean, here's my question. Have we been run down on purpose? Has our beauty, has the buildings, you look back 100 years ago, everyone's wearing a suit. All the women are wearing dresses. All the shirts are tucked in. I mean, but you look at us now, look how casual we are. Have we been intentionally pushed down to be less savvy, less sophisticated, less...
Who do you think would do that? You're gonna have your unicorn show here in a minute, Ron.
I mean, the theory of...
Ron show's on tomorrow
Yeah,
at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, the theory of who.
That's the
question,
the
right?
$1 question. I mean, how would any group maintain such a malicious plan over hundreds or even thousands of years? How could they possibly do it? That's the question. I mean,
I'll tell you though, I worked for the Japanese for a long time.
Where is this going?
Now here's this is a point I'm gonna make. I'm not saying I'm not making a negative racist comment. God damn it. You can't say one person's race now without somebody going, oh, you make fun of me.
I just don't know how you got for the social
So toughen
engineering
up,
to the
America,
Japanese.
is what I'm trying to tell you. But here's the thing. They used to I
What
was
do you mean
fortunate. I was fortunate and I was successful in sales, right, with the company. And the Japanese management called me a jackrabbit. And what that meant was that I ran ahead of their plan. I outpaced what they wanted to do. And Matsushita, the parent company of Panasonic, Matsushita, they have a 500-year rolling business plan. So they don't want jackrabbits taking them further or faster ahead of their plan. But they have a 500-year plan that is updated every 10 years.
So being a jackrabbit is
Being a jackrabbit was
Not
bad.
good.
It was like we gave you a quota, and while in the sales management side they're saying hit your quota and exceed it because somebody won't. That's their theory.
Right.
But if everybody hits quota and few people are jackrabbits and go above that, you're outpacing their production. You're outpacing their raw materials. You're outpacing. They don't want that. They know where they're going to be in 500 years, and that's the way they think. We're thinking next Sunday, you know. And these guys, their thought is so far out, and they don't want anything to disturb that. It's crazy. It's great. But I will. Can I just say something that it hit me? It hit me like a ton of bricks when we started talking about the buildings and the sophistication. It proves that the Flintstones was real because they used dinosaurs to move rocks around.
That's full disclosure. I'm telling you.
Right there, Flintstones is real.
Documentary.
That's it. It was the first documentary.
It was the first documentary.
You weren't paying attention. We were trying to be cute,
Yeah.
but dinosaurs moving rocks around.
Yeah, 10,000 BC with the lizards.
That's it. All right,
Yeah,
so
okay,
we've cracked the code.
Okay, so you
Ancient
like the
alien
theory.
theories.
So you believe that there have been people here for maybe millions of years.
I think civilizations have risen and fallen through maybe catastrophes or whatnot, but I don't think this is the first round of humanity. I don't think so.
I agree.
I just doubt it.
I agree.
I could be wrong. I just doubt it.
What do you think over there? Because we've never asked you this side of it. Because he doesn't believe in anything.
No, he doesn't. Unless he shoots at it, he doesn't believe.
He's like from the Big Lebowski. He's one of the nihilists.
We just showed up out of nowhere.
What do you think?
So I mean, you talk about people, but let's talk about the pyramid. I mean, how did the people build a pyramid?
Well, that's
Don't
what I'm
make
saying. The
sense.
sophistication, the technology was higher, and if it's still possessed, we don't have it.
How do we lose it?
That's a great question.
Kind of going back to your comment
again,
about.
If you imagine if you've ever looked at any of the, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the mud flood theory or any of these other type, where the world has been buried in floods and liquefaction from earthquakes and stuff. So, I mean, I think it's impossible. I mean, it's possible that if 80 or 90% of the people died, you would lose all of your guys who could run the power plant too.
True.
I agree.
You would lose.
Now,
you would lose all the engineers and all the technical people.
Here's the only
Imagine
thing.
someone handing you the keys to a fighter jet right now. What would you do? I
Go-
couldn't do
go to
jack
YouTube?
shit with a
Go to
fighter jet.
YouTube.
I would take a lot of selfies.
I can fix it.
Check it out. Insta. But here's the thing.
You wouldn't know how to use it.
Here's the only, because I'm with you. I don't think we're the first. I don't think we'll be the last. But how do we have dinosaur bones that are 30 million years old, but we have no human bones?
I mean, do we?
I don't know.
I mean,
I really don't know.
We don't have any idea what scientific evidence is buried in some warehouse somewhere. We have no idea.
What-
don't
Joey,
know.
I don't think. I don't even think it's.
We don't know.
I don't know that it's. And I told these guys.
Sorry, Corey.
Didn't you see it? Did you see Raiders of the Lost Ark? We've got our top men working on this. Our top men. You know what I'm talking about?
Tomb
The
Raider?
movie with the big
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. They send the Ark off into the big warehouse, and they're like, "This is important." He's like, "We have our top men." On
Yeah.
it. It's like a dude with a wheelbarrow, moving.
Yes.
It is interesting because you have these inexplainable objects we have here.
The I was telling these guys they were doing an excavation, and they found a skeleton of a woolly mammoth, and then below that, which was like another 10 or 15 feet, because you think about all the stuff they're finding from the 1500s that's 2 feet deep. It's in the dirt. But they dig up this woolly mammoth. Then below that, they find this like perfect bearing that was perfect.
Yeah.
That had a hole in it. It had to be a machined element that was below the woolly mammoth in this
I wonder,
dig.
why is it so hard for people to believe that there were other advanced civilizations before us? Like, why is that even hard to believe?
I think there's probably a big element of religion to
Why
it.
is it even hard to believe?
I think there's probably a religious element to
why
it.
is it so hard? I mean, okay, who's seen Ajanta caves or the Ellora caves in India? Who's seen this? Have you seen pictures of this cave?
No, but somebody should be Googling this.
I look over at him.
Yeah.
Come on. First the Japanese.
Hey, he knows.
I mean, if you guys ever seen, I mean, this stuff's carved.
No, you're Mexican, right? What day is today?
But you know, like that stuff's carved. Like these are huge temples carved directly out of the mountains. You know, like with perfect sculptures and art carved into the walls, all part of the mountain, like no mistakes. It's mind-blowing.
I don't understand how they do
And
that.
there's no evidence of the rock that's been chipped out. Like there's no waste material. It's just
Right.
gone. I mean,
Yeah, well, don't they say that the rock that they use for the pyramids is something like 500 miles away?
sure. I was saying in India they have these caves that are carved out of the actual mountains themselves. Like the entire buildings are one rock, rooms and everything. Everything's one solid rock carved. If you've ever looked it up, it doesn't seem real because it's too complicated. What's crazy is some warlord came around, found it a couple hundred years ago, thought it was evil, and tried to destroy it. But it was so big they couldn't even break it all. They tried to destroy all the sculptures and they couldn't. They gave up after a year. They're like, this is just too much.
So do you think it's humans or do you think it's aliens?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, what are aliens? I mean, could they be? Have you ever heard of breakaway civilizations? Could people have advanced and then just left? Maybe the Earth was getting destroyed, they left, and they came back. We're like, oh my God, they're aliens. They're like, no, we were here like 1 million years ago. This shit's
Right.
happened 3 times. You know, sorry. We're going to help you build a power plant again.
We spoke about this last night. We spoke about
Where were you last night?
we were sitting
We were watching reruns of Ancient Aliens last night in my house.
ancient alien theorists say
That's why Bailey fell asleep.
yeah,
It's
oh
on
no,
our mind right
Begley
now.
was in on this conversation for literally 60 seconds.
I'm
and she
telling
was
you,
out.
if
She
we
was
would have thrown
sleeping.
Kardashians in, she would have stayed. But otherwise, she was
for sure.
out.
But she was out of she was not like
Maybe
in
that's
our
half the
conversation.
reason. Is half the public would rather be more interested in Kylie Jenner.
But I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting if you
I guess from a human point of view, do we want to feel inferior? Like we can't rebuild the stuff that our ancestors built? Like we have to admit that we can't. We just can't do it.
I mean, Frank came in saying he gets 325, miles per charge.
Yeah.
When before we
The
used
old
to
one's
get
got
1200.
Yeah.
yeah, shit.
So what?
Do you
what
guys
the hell?
Okay, so
have you ever looked at flywheels? Like on old motors, they all had
Oh, sure.
flywheels.
Yeah.
I mean, they made motors super efficient. The motors almost never stopped because of that weight of that wheel moving. Do you see flywheels anymore?
My dad's
what
machine
about-
shop looks like an antique collection
There you go.
of 1950s machines that still work
He's still
perfect
using them
today.
today.
Yeah,
Still using them today.
Still work perfectly. That's right. That's right. Cavitation wheels. You ever heard of a cavitation wheel?
Can't wait to find out about them.
It's a
What are
weird
they?
thing. It's a weird industrial thing that's real. It's basically like a drum inside of a drum with like dimples. You know what I'm talking about? It's got dimples in it. And they press water through it, and this drum turns, and it boils the water instantly. And they use it for mixing chemicals in industrial processes. But you could literally have a little miniature cavitation wheel in your house and have instant boiling water. And that's a real thing. It's not high science.
I think it's money.
Friction.
I just don't
But
understand
instead-
any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But instead, we have electricity, which has to run everything.
Somebody's making money off of that.
Yep.
Well,
They just
Yeah,
don't want you to
that-
do
that's-
anything
right
that they
there.
can't
Yeah,
make money
yeah,
off.
no
of.
jackrabbits.
How many
Yeah.
great ideas were not economically feasible?
100%. I think
Well,
that-
look at
that's it.
just
I
look
think
at
you
it
said
this way. Look at what happens with the United States of America and our medical system.
Oh, God.
There's a reason why.
That's a whole show.
There's a reason why we go to Mexico for our medical work.
There's also a reason why they haven't cured cancer. There's too much money in cancer.
Too much money in it.
My
Yep.
wife is a scientist working in cancer research. And they have this really simple process that's like 60% effective, and it's taken them 10 years to get approved by the FDA.
10 years.
They finally got approved 10 years later. And
Yeah.
It's a super simple, non-invasive.
Yeah, a couple years
non-destructive-
ago, something that we were told to take was fast tracked in a matter of months.
Yeah, no problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
And
Boom.
$32 billion of profit later.
Yep. And it's
Whoops.
still
Whoopsie-doodle.
pumping. Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
you
that's a
should
can of
chill.
worms. I mean, the medical thing is all by itself is a whole other.
Right.
It's a
No,
whole
it's
thing.
there's too much money in it.
But I think let's
there's
pull it back because
there's no profit in health. I mean, if the entire population was healthy, there's no money in that.
yeah,
you know,
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
Here's the thing: when people are healthy, it's just a side thought. When people are healthy, aren't they thinking better? They're usually more motivated. They have more energy.
Yeah.
It's like it's easier to rule people if they're tired, confused,
Overworked.
weak. you know.
Oh, we got a pill for that.
Yeah.
We got a pill.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
There was an entire cartel designed just to make sure that light bulbs didn't melt last year.
Ron, what YouTube channels are you watching at home? Because you know about all this stuff.
He's
I haven't
on
heard
the
any
black
of these
web.
words.
Yeah,
Dark
Are you
web,
speaking in
whatever
English
web.
over there?
he's on a list.
Send me some links.
He and I are on a list together. We're on that list together.
Yeah. They're in that chat room.
That's we're on that list.
But let's back all the way up because we talk about these different civilizations, and maybe some civilizations were able to leave, and maybe they came back. Right?
I mean, how do we know?
Could that not be the gods?
I mean, how do we know it's
No,
aliens from
they're
another planet?
redheads.
I mean,
Oh, the redheads are. That theory is proven.
Yeah, it's proven.
I believe all redheaded women are aliens.
my wife is redheaded.
Is she? Does that make sense?
She's been holding up on the cancer cure for 10 years.
She's known about it this whole time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
All changes are demons.
Jujus or
All
gingers?
gingers.
Gingers. Okay, that makes sense. I thought it was a Jewish thing. We were Jovan's getting all nervous over there.
Yeah.
This is what we call the deep end, fellas.
So why do all these hieroglyphs? Everybody is praying to something that appears to be coming out of the sky. There's all these references to everything that's coming out of the sky. Why is that? I wonder.
It's interesting.
Was there an advanced civilization that was? Somebody had to teach somebody what there's a benefit to foil, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or the thermos, right? Greatest invention in the history of man.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout, if you look at all the old stories, they always refer to some person who showed up out of nowhere and taught them a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Over and
Yeah.
over again, we hear the same story. So it's like civilizations were destroyed. There were a few advanced people out there, maybe some breakaway culture and they just come back and just try to help and mentor. They like, we can't really do it for you. We can't interrupt your evolution, but you should have electricity or you should have the wheel or whatever, right? I mean, you think about all the stone buildings that were built. And supposedly that all with horse and carriage, like every bit of that. There was zero electric vehicles, zero flying to move all this stuff. I mean, with horses, it just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't check out. No, I'm
Personally,
right there
not
with
to
you.
me, but in a way, I just like it. I mean, whether it's true or not, I just want to think that humans are capable of more. That's what I really want to think. I want to think that we could build those things if we were given the opportunity.
Well, what if we use 5% of our brain?
Oh Lord.
What if it's all programmed? What if it's all in there? You just can't access it.
Yeah.
What if the answer to all this shit is in the gray mush and you just can't get to it? The door's locked.
Yes. I think that's what's happened.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think modern society has done that too.
King Solomon's temple was built like that.
Okay.
King Solomon's temple was built like what?
With all men.
All stone.
All the
All men.
With people. Now wait a second. Let me ask you a question. If I recall that, and I'm not a biblical historian, but did not Solomon claim to use the power of a ring to control demons to build his stuff? Isn't that what he said? He used these demons to move it. So it wasn't exactly people. It was
So
actually.
he got exact measurements of how big the rocks gotta be, and he was not allowed as he was building the temple. So there couldn't be any sounds of metal because they were used for war. To them, to build all this off-site and then carry it.
He carried it.
River, all this man-made boats, and bring it out like that.
So
How would you like to be? I mean, right now there's 10,000 guys that work at 7-Eleven night shift, and they get out of bed and they're like, God damn it, I got to go to work. Can you imagine the guy's got to get up and go, I got to go move that goddamn boulder today?
Yeah,
Jesus.
across the river.
I hope we're on the
yeah.
downhill part on this thing today because this is a bitch.
I couldn't take my 6-year-old daughter across a river. How am I going to get that thing across the river?
No.
But I don't know. It's really interesting to think about.
I mean, if you read ancient stuff, they talk about modern technology in ancient books. If you guys ever, I don't know if you've ever read the.
I'm just going to go ahead and
Okay,
stop
yeah,
you. We
any-
didn't read that
if
one.
you start any
Whatever one you
sentence-
were talking about, we didn't read
Here's
that one.
the answer to this question. Anytime you say,
have a drink.
have you guys read? The answer is no.
Yes.
No, unless
Okay,
it was motocross action.
but-
Yeah,
Yeah.
motocross
1976.
action.
Otherwise,
the one
that was
book
last
I
book.
read was Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. And have you read books?
No.
Have you read books?
There it is.
No, there you go.
There it is. Continue on
Yeah.
with the book stuff.
Yeah. Show off.
Yeah, I feel like the dude in the apocalypse who's read a book.
There was this thing.
I read a book. Yeah.
Hey, gather around. We're going to talk about the book.
This is how the disciples were made.
Yeah,
We're us
right.
three
We're all
dicklings.
going,
Only
what?
one guy could read.
No, I swear to God, this guy came down from Earth and he just said some stuff. And
Did you
it was
hear
in
what
a
that guy
book.
said?
Yeah.
It was in a book.
Did you hear what that guy said, though?
What were you talking about, Todd? Sorry.
There was a book you read.
Okay, well, I'm going to say, when you read the ancient stuff, they talk about flying vehicles. They talk about energy weapons. They talk about shit getting blown up and turned to glass and turned to ash. I mean, what kind of weapons did they have back then that could do all that stuff? Unless it was some kind of crazy high-tech stuff. So,
Well,
I mean,
it's-
the Mahabharata talks about flying cities. Like, they literally just had cities flying around. You could park your city anywhere you wanted to. You want to change the view? Like, we're going to the Bahamas. Like, the whole city's going. I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, did they just invent that stuff in their mind, or were they reporting what they saw? I think that all that stuff was real at some point. I mean, we know now, I mean, just through basic stuff. I mean, everybody knows Tesla, right? The inventor Tesla, everybody knows that guy. I mean, he was coming up with anti-gravity. He had a patent for anti-gravity discs. So, I mean,
I mean, he was going to electrify everything.
How is it so hard to believe that it's...
He was creating electricity through the air.
Yeah. Ether and all of his stuff he was doing,
Yeah, I think if we look at the longevity of just Earth, right? They say it's 13 billion years old, right? And we've been here for
So they say.
or so they say. That's
what they tell us.
Those are the key words you're supposed to not say.
Banned.
But if you look at it, 13 billion years. Let's say we've been here for 20,000 years. Let's say we've been here for 1 million years. It's nothing.
Not really. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not much
nothing.
Time. It's not much time.
So who's to say that something hasn't? Of course, something's been here in 13.9 billion years.
Supposedly, our entire civilization is built up over how long? 6 or 8 or 10,000 years.
Right.
So what's 1 million years?
Nothing.
Nothing. I mean, it's nothing.
And what's 6,000 years to 1 million years? And then what's 1 million years to 1 billion? And then what's 1 billion to 13? Right? And if the universe is all expansive and it's...
Well, let's not even get into like parallel dimensions, you know?
No. Let's go ahead and get into parallel dimensions.
Let's not even get into it.
No. I think this is probably the part of the show we get into it.
Let's not.
What do you know about parallel
I
dimensions?
don't know anything about them, but other than to think they're probably real. I mean, now, okay, there was a TED Talk from a guy back in 2010 who was one of the lead computer engineers for I think it was D-Wave, and they were like the first commercially available quantum computer. You ever heard of that?
Yep.
So when he described to this audience how those computers work, have you ever heard how that works?
No.
So they say they have this tiny little chip that's in a gigantic refrigerator, and it has to be super cold to work. Number one, that's the only way it can work. But when they started processing problems, it was solving problems way faster than it should. And they were like, what the hell's going on? What they figured out is that it was exploiting parallel dimensions, that there were other quantum computers. This is what the guy who made the computer said, that there are quantum computers that invented in parallel dimensions that are all processing that same problem at the same time. And they all get the answer at the same time. Does that blow your mind? That's what he said. That's what the guy who invented the computer. You're exploiting other dimensions processing power through that computer. It got quiet. That's obviously everyone's thinking on that.
Yeah.
That's what he said. I mean, watch that TED Talk from that guy, and he explains it using like his daughter and a teddy bear example kind of thing. So anyway, I think I left everybody in the dust on that one. I'm sorry.
No.
If Adrian can't shoot it, it doesn't
It ain't
exist.
real.
So he's going to be shooting
He's
straight
our
up in
voice
the
of
air.
reason. Thank you, Adrian. You're my
I
anchor.
can shoot a fridge with a chip in it.
Can shoot a fridge. So quantum physics are real.
I mean,
Yeah.
But I think isn't that what's so unique about just quantum physics, about just the whole quantum field, that they have mathematics that prove its existence, but they don't know why it can prove its existence, and they can't
they know
prove.
it's there, but they don't know how to, intentionally exploit it. But they know it's there.
They know if you pull a string.
Exploit. That's right.
All right, Ron.
Did you guys ever know?
This is going to be Ron's show tomorrow night.
Yeah,
Did you
for
see
sure.
The show Man in the High Castle, Did you ever see that show?
No, I didn't see it.
It was based on the books by Philip K. Dick, who wrote Blade Runner and all that sci-fi writer.
Yep,
Man in
yep.
High Castle is basically
Scanner
an
Darkly.
alternate reality where the Nazis won.
Right.
Oh,
and
sure,
half
sure.
of the U.S. was Japanese,
That's
and half
right.
of it was
And
German.
So these films, these newsreels kept showing up that showed them losing. And they're like, how is this propaganda? Who's making this? And they discovered that these films were coming out of our reality where we did win instead of lose. And so they didn't want those films out there because it would give people the idea and the encouragement that they could be beat. So they were really doing everything they could to find these films. And then during that process, they learned how to exploit this interdimensional parallel universe thing, and that was the whole point. They were trying to expand their Nazi empire into every universe they could.
Have you seen
a great show. It's worth it.
everything, everywhere, all at once?
I did, yeah.
Very, very unique.
movie,
If you
yeah.
haven't seen it, but it almost builds on this because it talks about, you know, when you're at the stoplight and you think, what if I just turned right here instead of turning left?
Well, and there you go. That's parallel universes.
Right. So
in a parallel universe, you've done them all. That's the theory. You've done everything. There's no choice you can make that hasn't been acted out.
isn't that the concept of infinity?
I think so.
You have done everything
All possibilities,
exists
you've-
infinitely.
Yes, at every stop sign, you've gone forward, you've gone right, and you've gone left at every one of them.
Yep, and you didn't make it through the stop sign. Right? Like, all of that's the infinity, right? Infinity means the concept of infinity, right?
Adrian's going, we picked a good night not to have tequila.
Yeah.
We need Adrian's
Think about
input.
that.
We need Adrian's input here. Bring us back down to the earth here.
I mean, every single thing that could possibly happen at any given vector point of
in my
life.
opinion, I'm not a religious person, but my conception of God, I'm a spiritual person. God can see everything, and in God's mind, everything does happen. If it's a thought, then He's explored every thought, and that means you as a thought, every possibility for you has been explored. And the one that's hidden here is awesome. So this is a great development of your potential. There may be others that are not so good. And
Yep.
same for any of us, right? We could have taken worse turns. We could have married the wrong girl. We could have, you name it, taken the wrong job. We don't know.
I just had this conversation with Ale yesterday. I
Did
could
she
be.
feel like she married the wrong guy?
That would be the right universe if she did marry me.
We just had this conversation.
But yeah, we had us like, boy, I could be working some shit job in Denver,
Yeah.
dead poor, looking at the mountains, going, boy, I hope I can go snowboarding this weekend. That could have been my life, but instead, it all worked out to the point of like,
And
oh,
doesn't
okay.
everyone have that? Like every one of us can look back to a moment. It's like, damn, I did this instead of that. Thank God.
Yep.
Or I did this instead of that, and you cringe. Like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that or said that. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how many times in life do you say, if I had that to do over again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and we wouldn't be the same people we are. We would not be the same people we are.
Yeah.
without it.
But that person could exist.
And they do. As far as the theory concerned, they do exist.
Right. That person exists.
Yeah.
And they're living the life
I
at the
mean,
same time.
It's a weird thing to think that there may be millions of you doing all different things at the same time. You know, it's a weird thought. I mean, I don't know if it's useful or helpful to even think like that, but it seems possible.
You know what's helpful at this moment? Is to slide him into the judgment zone.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Judging.
All
Look
right,
at
ladies
the
and
baby, look at the
gentlemen.
baby.
Look and judge. These are going to
yes.
be tens across the board, I can tell you right now.
Yeah,
We
for
gave him a
sure.
preface before, so Todd knows like what's to expect.
No.
Okay.
Without the questions. He doesn't know the questions, but we told him.
Oh,
about
you
the
gave him a
judgment
preference?
zone. Yeah.
Okay. So, these questions, we're going to judge you before you answer. They're on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is no, 0 is Adrian, and 10 is absolutely.
5 doesn't exist.
Go ahead, take 5,
No five.
throw it out, or shove it up your ass.
Okay.
Okay?
Take 2.
Take
Throw
2.
them- throw them
I'm
away.
trying to watch my figure. I want a
yeah.
Filet-O-Fish sandwich for the
Take
number
last
5.
2 things and cancel them.
Diet Coke. So we're going to judge you, and then we'll move forward, and then you can answer. Adrian always kicks this one off.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah. So, where do you stand on 0 to 10? And I say 0
Because he's
that's,
0.
That's me. On your belief in Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti. He's got different names.
Don't answer.
yet.
We got. We have to judge it.
We'll judge you first. Think about it.
Okay.
Pops.
Oh,
hit us.
we've got an answer piping in right now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure the answers are going to flow in.
What do you think, boss?
What is Sasquatch in Switzerland?
What do you think I was?
It's this guy.
They don't believe in anything.
They don't believe in
They don't
anything.
believe in war
No.
Yeti?
or anything.
No. Yeti,
Do you guys have personal
The,
property over there?
Really?
the abominable snowman. I think it.
There you go.
I think he's a 10.
Oh, you think he's a 10?
Yeah.
I think he's a 3.
Jeez.
On Squatch, I think he's a 3.
I'm on the
We've got a
fence.
2 and a 7.
Where are you guys?
Serge, where do you think he sits? 0 to 10. Nathaniel, see a 3
Three, yeah.
plus 5.
Evan.
What do you guys think?
Evan,
Three. Yeah.
1.
Okay.
Bunch of non-believers.
What did you think?
Hard 10.
Hard 10.
On Sasquatch?
Todd, where are you
I
at?
really don't. I don't have much of an opinion on Sasquatch. It's not really one of the
That's.
things.
I don't think you understand the show.
You notice that no opinion wasn't even an option.
What I'm saying is, I think I'm closer to Adrian. I think I'm like a 1 on the Sasquatch.
Okay.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they exist. I've never really.
I think you need to
Minus
rethink
5.
your position.
Minus 5. That's okay. All right, so we're gonna skip.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip the.
Yeah, look, I just think that there was
You're a fan.
something in the migration that there was something that went from between gorilla and human that is still out there. I mean, you can go to a zoo
Gigantopithecus.
today and see a gorilla.
Yeah.
So how do we think that there isn't a taller one, right?
They probably do exist. I mean, I just don't really think that much about them for some reason. They don't capture my imagine. I like pyramids and stone
Yeah.
buildings. So Sasquatch is.
It's
not that.
That's beginner
The guy
shit.
doesn't build
Yeah.
anything.
The Loch Ness.
Same.
All right.
They don't
Okay.
build anything. Sasquatch
The Loch
doesn't
Ness.
build. He doesn't build.
That's how I knew you're European. Is the Loch Ness.
Yeah.
We all knew Loch Ness was a log 100 years ago.
Should we go to number 2? Should we go to number 2? Number 2. Two-parter. UFOs. Are they here? Have they landed?
It's fucking easy. Just get to
shut
the
up.
shit.
And then the second part, because we'll come up with 2 numbers to judge you. The second part is, are we alone in the universe? So, Adrian, where are you at?
Okay, hold it. You're swapping it up.
Why did I?
Do you? So a 10 would be he believes that we're alone in the universe.
We're not alone.
No, we're not
Okay,
alone.
we're not alone. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Extraterrestrial life exists.
UFOs first, and then life existence.
Have they been here?
Second.
Are they here?
7, 7, 7,
Yeah,
6,
a
lot of
9.
sevens.
Yeah, 9.
9-9. Where you at, Brand?
I'm going 10, 10.
10-10.
I'm going 10, 10.
The second part of this is like a 12, but the first part I'm going to go 10 because I think he's
10,
I think he's a 10-12, and I say that because
He's
I think he
smart.
really deep down knows how them freaking blocks of stone move.
Yeah. Todd, where are you at?
Quote a movie. This goes to 11.
What movie is that?
That's from Spinal Tap. The movie.
Ooh, Spinal Tap. All right, I'm with you.
Go to 11.
Let's go to 11.
Okay.
Okay, 11. All right, so the final one.
This
Now this one, I don't know where he's going to be.
be interesting.
This will be episode 2 of Todd Stewart coming on the show. This is also
I
a
wasn't
two-parter.
fired. That's a good sign.
Two-parter. One, where you standing on the element of ghosts,
Ghosts.
physical apparitions, something you can see,
Flinging
something
doors
that sees you.
open.
No, not even poltergeist, but just energy that's trapped here that's physical.
A sheet with eyes cut out.
Okay.
We've all seen Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And then for the next part is spirits.
Okay.
This connection with a parallel universe.
Okay.
This connection with something else that exists before or after we're here. I like it.
Where you at, Aid?
210.
Yeah.
210.
Yeah. I'm riding with you, Aid.
Really? I'm going 610.
+5. Serge, where do you think he sits? 8 both. Where are you guys?
8-10.
Plus.
Totally.
Todd, where you at?
100%. These go to 11. No, as far as
Yes,
as far as
for both?
ghosts, I mean, I'm sure they do exist. I've never seen one.
Okay.
But I have no doubt that there's other energies, and I think we live on after death. I don't think this is our first lifetime at all. I don't. I believe in reincarnation. I think we end up probably in the same circles with people over and over again. You know,
Till you get it right.
You guys have probably been related, or for lifetimes.
Yeah,
don't
burn
I
bridges.
agree.
You just get
Evan
closer and
says.
closer to people.
What did Evan say?
Don't burn
Don't
bridges.
burn bridges.
Yeah,
Don't burn bridges.
I learned that in my third life.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, and spirits, you think that's connected?
Again, I've never seen one, but I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
So no experience. We've had some guests.
Now, I will say this. In my family, not to get heavy at all, but in my family, I've had a lot of people pass away. And so I've had some very strange experiences after a person passed away that were some just unbelievable confirmations that I think there's some, I don't know, you want to call it guardian spirit, or people kind of looking out for you or just giving you confirmation, people who've passed. I've gotten lots of those kind of signs, so I do believe in it. I mean, I don't think it's scary. I'm not worried about it or anything like that, but I do believe we live on. I do.
I'm with
And
you.
if we
Hope
don't,
so.
I want to believe that. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
I
And then
want to believe
a
it.
lot of what I believe is what I want to believe, and I know that it's not. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's true or not. I just choose to believe that we're spirits, that we're a lot more connected than we think. Isn't it amazing? I don't know if it's the same subject or not, but just the idea of you can think of someone that you haven't thought of in a long time, and they'll text you or call you. Or
Yeah.
you'll get an email out of the blue, or you'll think of a song and you turn on the radio and it's on. And it's like, I think there is a connection. I think there's a big connection we're not fully aware of yet. Or
Yep.
maybe we've lost that connection. We used to have it, maybe.
Different way to look at it.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Todd Stewart. This is episode 1 of many with this man. We might do a
You guys are
spin-off.
awesome.
yeah,
I hope you guys have
we're gonna have this as a.
Thank you so much for being here.
I think I'm going to finally like this cigar when the show's over.
There you go.
With that,
Well, you look good holding it.
Thank
Yep.
you.
give it up for Todd Stewart. Thank you. We love you. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Hey, guys. That was fun, guys. Thank you so much.
I mean, we were on a streak. 2